Good morning, everybody. This is Jim Feist in Las Vegas and Joe Mac in New York City, where the weather is actually cooled off a little bit. The humidity is down. Joe had a big double winner last night. Well, we're not going to say big on the side because, you know, I had the same side, but I think we got a little lucky with that safety but the total that you had under, that was an amazing pick, Joe, and congratulations on that. So you had a double winner last night.
Yeah, it's a good way to start off preseason week 3, Jim. Always good to be back with you. Not a game for the ages, not the most exciting game. I know the Fox people wheeled out Joe Buck and Troy Aikman and the cast, but they didn't get a whole lot of excitement. We did get a lot of talk, obviously, about the Browns. And yeah, you know what? I mean, it was a definitely nice winner on the side of the totals. A couple of times we saw it. Eagles went right down the field. I mean, Foles threw just a terrible red zone near the goal line interception that kind of squashed them late in the first half. But it was a good, solid play for the under. You know, we didn't know that Taylor was going to go down for a little bit there with a hand injury. He did come back. Mayfield still learning the ropes. And so it turned out it was a very easy win on the under and a nice win on the Browns minus the 3 points. So a good way to get the week started. You know, obviously everyone and his brother calls it dress rehearsal week. You know, there's still a lot of teams that are not going to take chances with guys. We'll get into that a bit. But anyway, as far as the Jim Hurley Network and everything, it was a nice way to get started.
Yeah, speaking of the Jim Hurley Network is who you work with, is this weekend you have the biggest, highest-rated play of the week for free. And, of course, that's the Jim Hurley Network. And to get that play, the people, all they have to do is call 1-800-323-4453. 1-800-323-4453. No obligation. Call to win and get Joe's highest-rated play on the Jim Hurley Network, absolutely free. And, you know, I have offers like that as well. Last night I had the Browns as well. I'm not real proud of that selection, but it did win. I've been doing really well in baseball. I'm up really well this week in baseball. Tough with some of the prices, Joe. The prices have gone through the roof. Of course, everybody knows who the better teams are. You know, and they go through the roof. So you try the money line side of it, playing 1.5 runs, but that doesn't always work either. Nothing always works, of course. This is a tough business. We're in the investing business, and I'm not a gambler. I'm an investor. And I know people say if you bet on sports, you're a gambler. If you bet on Wall Street, you're an investor. Well, that's bullshit. Bottom line is they're both the same. If you do the same amount of work on each, all you're doing is investing and analyzing and trying to come up with the best odds to win money. So people out there need to get away from what the media tells them because they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Last night, Joe Buck says that there's more money on the Browns to win the Super Bowl than there are any other teams in football. Well, that's not true. It's not true. The reason they're betting the Browns is because of the odds. If the odds were all square, nobody would bet the Browns at even money. They might bet Pittsburgh at even money and the Patriots at even money and the Saints and the Falcons at even money, but they're not going to bet the Browns. But if you give big odds to the Browns, yeah, you're going to get some bets on them, and you're not going to get them on the other teams that are laying big prices. So they really need to get their information right because they're misleading the public. We don't do that here. We give you what is true, and that's why we do these podcasts.
You got that right, Jim. I know. I heard them talking about how you know, they were kidding around and teasing with Aikman that he was going to put some money on the Browns to win the Super Bowl and all that stuff. But you're right. They got to get things in perspective. And just to touch on some of the stuff you're talking about with the baseball prices, I happened to see an article the other day in the New York paper saying how they were touching on the Yankees, how when they went on a recent streak, you would think they would have made money, but then there was one game thrown into the mix there. It was a Saturday afternoon game, the first game of a day-night doubleheader. They were playing the Kansas City Royals at Yankee Stadium, and the Yankees were actually laying 400 and lost the game. So as the reporter wrote correctly in his article, listen, he said something to the effect the Yankees might be 9-3 in their last 12 games, but you barely turned a profit because if you religiously just played them And you're going to play. I mean, and we have seen some crazy, really high odds this year. We've seen it in Red Sox games where Sale was pitching before he got hurt. As I just said, we saw it with the Yankee Royals. I've seen it a couple of times with Scherzer before the Nationals had waved the white flag. We saw it a couple of times with Scherzer at home against the bad team. I mean, people, obviously, I mean, if you've been around the block for a while, you know you can't be laying prices like that. And if you're going to religiously play a team, let's say you're going to play the Nationals, no matter what, you got to use your head a little bit. You can't be taking a chance of playing 300 or 350. So anyway, that should, to me, go without saying. But that's why baseball is so tricky. I mean, you and I have talked this year a couple of times about the runs line. I mean, I can't tell you how many games in the last week to 10 days alone where I've seen a team that was, a pretty big home favorite. And so if you wanted to lay the 1.5, you might want to do that. I've seen both things happen. I've seen teams hit 2 out, solo homers in the bottom of the 8th with a 4-3 lead to eventually win 5-3. And so if you had to lay the 1.5, you got it. And I've seen teams score, what they would call meaningless runs in the top of the 9th inning, on a wild pitch or a pass ball or an error. I saw something the other day, and a team, instead of winning 5-3, wound up winning 5-4, and you're sitting there and your 1.5 run line that is crushed. So we've seen it on all ends, and like you said, it's about studying too. I mean, we're not controlling what goes on in the field once it's happening, or on the court, or on the ice, whatever. But you've got to do your studying. You can't fool around and just take shots in the dark and stuff like that. That's what we do. You've been doing it for a long, long time. I've been doing it for Jim Hurley Network for going on 25 years now. So you got to do your research. You got to do your studying, and then you hope for the best after you've done all your due diligence.
Absolutely. Yeah, you talk about, I don't want to get into just totally baseball here, or we could come back and do a separate pod on football. We can do that. But when you're talking about, runs, lines, and big prices, there is a way to bet a big line. I'd never bet 4-1. You're just gonna have to pass that game, or you go in and you bet the team total on the game, or the team, the situation. There's a lot of ways to bet baseball. It's not just pick the winner or the loser, or the over and under, or the run line. You can bet a team's total. For example, you can get one team and say, okay, how many runs is this one team going to score in the game? Like, you might get a team where one pitcher is really good and the other pitcher is so-so. So you go in there and you say, okay, what can I do with this game, and how can I break down this game to find an edge? So, like, for example, today with the Cubs against the Reds. The Cubs are a 175 favorite, means lay 175 to win 100, or you take the Reds plus 155. So you bet 100 to win 155. But you can also bet over or under 12.5, which is the total number of runs, or you can lay 1.5 on the Cubs laying 105. Which, if you like, I mean, they got Alec Mills going, so I don't know that we have enough information on the guy. But when you can also go in and say, okay, the line on the Cubs to how many runs they're going to score in the game is over 6.5 minus 115, or under 6.5 minus 115. So that's a big number, a lot of juice on that. And you could do the same thing with the Reds at 5.5 is their total. So what you have here, and this is what we do for a living. People out there don't understand how much work there goes into beating Wall Street, the bonds, the stocks, all the other things, commodities, and sports betting. It requires work, guys. It's not easy. You're not going to, in football, baseball, basketball, you're laying juice to the bookmaker, and that's why they have the big cars and the chandeliers over their dining room table, because they know what the hell they're doing and the average public does not. So if you're going to break down this business and actually make money, you need to know what the hell you're doing. And you need to find ways to take advantage of the weaknesses in the line. And it's not just about the winners and losers. There's different ways to bet. And the same thing in football and basketball. You got to look for breaks, whether it's first 5 innings in baseball or whether it's over and under trends and halftime scores in basketball. So there's all kinds of situations, and you need to know what you're doing. That's why people hire us to do this. I've been doing this 48 years. You know, I can't believe I just said that. 48 years doing this, and successfully. Now, granted,